In a world where the marks think they know better than the wrestlers and the bookers, the Fantasy Booking Institute exists to pretty much do exactly that. This is a visit from the FBI.
This is Dan the Dad, and you should listen to Raw and Order or you're grounded.
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the Fantasy Booking Institute, your weekly source for pro wrestling fantasy booking. I am your host, Detective Mark Smarks, and I'm joined, as always, by my partner in crime, fighting District Attorney Vincent Kayfabe. What's going on, man? How are you?
By your reliable partner in crime, fighting.
Yeah, someone else had to work late.
So
what do you want to talk about?
So just go ahead and open it up, and then we'll talk.
We're supposed to be having a fun show where we have fun and play games and everything, but we can't do that without mentioning the big shitty elephant in the room that was Monday Night Raw yesterday. The big fucking shitty fucking elephant.
I like elephants.
I do too. This is mean to elephants.
That was a little mean to elephants.
I just did quick mental math in my head, and all told on Monday Night Raw there was just barely over 30 minutes of actual wrestling in the 3 hours of television.
And you stuck around for the whole thing because you were excited about what
there was one thing that was gonna. It's kind of like WrestleMania Night 2, right? There were shitty things, but I was banking on this main event to save everything, and more specifically,
and it did. Except
and more specifically, the feel good at the end. I can look past a lot of shit in a wrestling show if I go home happy at the end, right? And that's the way this was. I was like, okay, this will be fine. This will be fine. They established in the very, very first segment of the show, Cody Rhodes challenged for a rematch. Roman Reigns said no. Cody said, well, fine. How about a tag match? You and Solo Sikoa versus me and somebody. And they said, fine, we'll do it. But here's the rules. It has to be someone who wrestled over the weekend at WrestleMania. And it has to be someone who's willing to give up all future chances at Roman Reigns' titles. And then Brock Lesnar's music hit.
Who can't challenge?
Who already cannot challenge Roman Reigns. And so they're like, oh my goodness. And he came out and he's going to be the tag partner. And I'm like, you know what?
I'm pumped.
You know what? I'm pumped. Brock Lesnar has not wrestled a match on WWE Raw since July 22nd of 2002. It's almost old enough to drink. Right? His stretch of time not wrestling on Raw is almost old enough to drink. And I'm like, that's fine. Let's do this. Let's have a big, huge match. It's got no title implications directly, right? But it should be a big, fun match and everything. And so I could overlook them doing a 1 and 41-second squash Omos over Elias. Sure, great. I could overlook them giving Mustafa Ali a total of 38 seconds to lose to Bobby Lashley.
Fine. Well, there was a 4-minute beatdown before that, so okay.
Yeah, fine. There's all this. I've got a big thing coming.
I can overlook Seth Rollins, whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah,
that wasn't a promo.
Coming out to the ring, leading the crowd in the whoa, and then leaving. And that's it. Now, the reports have come out since that while he was in the ring, they changed it and they cut his segment. So he walked out with the microphone in hand and was ready to do some sort of a promo. And they went to commercial break. And there's video of them calling him over to the ropes, him leaning over the ropes, talking to someone, getting really agitated, and then walking away. And then the lights start to come up for them coming back from commercial break, and he finishes leading them in songs and he leaves. So he obviously wasn't happy about it. Becky backstage, the promo, they had Trish, Lita, and Becky deliver a promo. Becky looks visibly upset when delivering the promo. Bayley was at the arena, and they had plans for Bayley to be involved in the Io Sky and Dakota Kai match later in the night, to come out with them. And for some reason or other, she was told, "We've decided not to use you. You're going. You get to go home," and got sent home. Right? Not for anything she did. They just creative at the last minute changed the plan and decided to send her home. The thing is, I can overlook a lot of that stuff. Right? If we get this big fucking Brock Lesnar wrestling for the first time in almost 21 years on Raw. And Roman Reigns, Sikoa come out to the ring. Cody comes out to the ring. Pumped. Brock Lesnar's music hits. He comes out to the ring. I'm pumped. They start introductions. Intros. They give the intro to Roman Reigns. Yeah, they give the intro to Cody. Yeah, before they even get to finish the Brock Lesnar intro.
No, they introed Lesnar before they did Cody.
Oh, I thought they did Cody first. It doesn't matter. Anyways, they started to do, and all of a sudden, Brock Lesnar F5s Cody twice.
And then 74 other times.
And then beats the tar out of him for a good 10 minutes or so, and then leaves.
After he does
and
this.
Flips off the camera on his way out. Like, for fuck's sake.
Here's how I feel. So, there's a director who made a really good Swerve movie in the early 90s. Or late 90s. And people were pretty excited about it because, number one, you knew your friends were jackwagons when they said they knew. So it was really easy to identify the idiots of your friends. Number two, it was well done. And that's M. Night Shyamalan with The Sixth Sense. People will argue that it wasn't well done. At the end of the day, nobody fucking knew. They might have guessed it, but they didn't fucking know. And then he released 700 more movies that had a swerve at the end. And you knew a fucking swerve was coming. And eventually you started getting really shitty swerves. Like aliens invading a planet that they can't fucking survive on because there's too much water.
I don't know. I think that one's still better than the trees are trying to kill us.
True. Either way, all of the swerves that he introduces later on start to give him a mantra where it's bad television and you stop going. You're like, maybe I'll rent it. It'll be on TNT in 4 years. I might watch it with some commercials. Yeah. Fuck. This is M. Night Shyamalan. I haven't seen this one, but it's going to have a stupid swerve at the end.
Yeah. Side note, The Village is legitimately a good movie to watch if you ignore the swerve entirely.
Yes.
You just pretend the swerve doesn't happen.
So there's all these swerves that occur, and you stop wanting to watch them altogether. And that's where we're at. I mean, I feel like we've watched all of a 2-act play, and we watched all of the first act, and we think it's over, and there's another scene to the first act. And then there's another scene to the first act. And then there's another scene to the first act. This is all of this year. Everything since Sami Zayn hit Roman on has been a fucking swerve. God damn it. Give me the end of the first act so I can start watching the second act. I gotta pee. I want to go to intermission. Fucking stop.
Here's what it is. You remember the Summer of Daniel Bryan?
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't supposed to win the belt.
Correct.
And the fans rallied around him and forced WWE's hand to do it. The problem is, WWE now is so bullheaded that they're like, we're not going to let the fans force our hands anymore.
No.
So Sami Zayn gets super popular.
You have
Cody
two
Rhodes
guys
gets super
who
popular.
the fans want to see win that fucking title.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part about last night is they didn't build any new future storylines around the thing that they're trying to obsess about, which is the title. Now there's no fucking storyline for the title. Because you know who I want to kick the shit out of if I'm Cody Rhodes? The dude who attacked me from behind.
Yeah.
Forget all of Brock or all of Roman. Now I want to get Brock. Mm-hmm. Well, you know who Sami Zayn's just supposed to let it go? Well, yeah, because he's got the tag title. So
now I've got the tag title, so
I gotta let that go.
I mean, legitimately, I mentioned this a lot on our WrestleMania review. Who does WWE have now that you could argue can challenge for the title?
Solo, Jimmy, Jay. That's it. It's got to be the fall of the bloodline, right?
Yeah, but
Seth hasn't had his run at this title.
No, but he has lost to Roman.
But he hasn't had a run at the Undisputed Roman.
He has not had a run at the Undisputed Roman, but that was the storyline that they already built up, was that Roman couldn't beat Seth, and then...
You cut his promo short last night. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't even set that up last night.
No. But even more than that, again, the storyline when Seth faced Roman was Roman couldn't beat Seth. And then he did. And sure, he cheated to win, but that's the way he always does, right?
Yeah.
So, but legitimately, who do they have set up right now who could legitimately challenge and theoretically beat without, too much? Who hasn't Roman already beat?
Is it just Gunther? That's basically it, right? As what we would consider a title contender. Gunther, Riddle, maybe. He's already beat Riddle. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got nothing. Braun Breaker.
Yep, Braun's about the only one here.
Braun Strowman, he's been fired, and came back.
Let me see if I can.
I suppose he hasn't beat Chad Gable for the title. That's a fun story. I don't know if it's believable, but it's a fun story. It's not believable because they didn't let it be believable. Let me rephrase that. It's believable. But they haven't set it up so that it can be believable.
Because here, let's look at... Give me 1 second. Let's see. So Cody Rhodes has lost. So he now is out. Sami Zayn lost. So he's now out. Kevin Owens lost. So he's out. At Crown Jewel, Logan Paul lost. So he's out. And I'm trying to look over house shows because those don't technically count. Drew McIntyre's out. He's already been beaten.
Bobby Lashley's out.
Brock Lesnar's out because he's been beaten.
Multiple times on this run.
Yeah, like you said, Riddle's out. A lot of times beating Drew McIntyre. Jesus fuck.
He has beaten Lashley, right?
Not since he became the unified one. Okay. But
in the Universal he had, just not in the WWE universe.
Yeah, not the unified is what I meant to say. But there's Seth Rollins. Jesus, he beat the fuck out of Drew McIntyre for a long time.
Randy Orton's out. Of course, he's out because of injury too.
Yeah. The last time he was beaten was Seth Rollins by DQ a year ago.
Is AJ out? I mean, I know he's injured right now, but
AJ lost at house shows. But I haven't found a televised one, which of course televised are the only ones that matter. Big E's out, although Big E's also out.
So you got Kofi, Big E, Miz, Dolph. Those are former champions.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not in that category. Or Kofi.
It wasn't for the title, but Shinsuke got beat. Finn Balor. Yep,
that happened. Yep.
that beat. They still haven't explained the ropes breaking.
Edge has been beat.
There's a triple threat with Bobby Lashley. There's another Finn Balor. John Cena.
Sheamus.
Rey Mysterio. Cesaro, not with the company anymore. Daniel Bryan, not with the company anymore. Kevin Owens again. Drew McIntyre again. There's Jey Uso.
So now you
Braun
got
Strowman.
Bray Wyatt.
Yep, that's how he won the title. So yeah, like I mean,
So
seriously,
you got AJ Styles. You got little guys. And
yeah, you got little guys
and Gunther and Sheamus.
and Gunther and Sheamus theoretically, but they haven't built Sheamus up to be there yet. Like, I mean, I could look here. Oh, he hasn't technically beat Baron Corbin, but that's because Baron Corbin's solidly in the mid card right now.
Yeah.
He hasn't beat Bronson Reed because Bronson Reed's solidly in the mid card right now.
Yeah, that's the same category as Chad Gable, Otis.
Yeah. And so we can't really talk about that. And so I'm trying to think of like main card. I mean, I guess they're trying to push Omos to main card level, although they had him get destroyed by Brock. So I don't know. They could no. The guy's out injured. Go to SmackDown. Anyone? There's Gunther, right? Jinder hasn't been pushed recently, but
God, what an angering but happy moment. Fuck.
Karrion Kross and LA Knight.
Yeah. Not LA Knight. LA Knight's not there. Karrion Kross they could.
Well, he's only not there because after seeing the way crowds responded to him, very positively, by the way, they decided not to give him a spot in WrestleMania and pull him.
Crowds respond positively to LA Knight as a heel.
That's fine.
Yeah.
They still pulled him from he was supposed to have a spot at WrestleMania, and they're like, "Oh, people like him." Nah.
They want a natural babyface, and they've just fucked over the two most natural babyfaces in their moments that they had. Yeah. And Roman's right. He's beat them all. Cody's right. He's beat them all by cheating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I like how Cody's entire promo could be summed up in a single 10-second clip from the first Fast and Furious movie.
I had you.
I almost had you, bro. You had nothing. That's it. That was his entire promo. Fuck.
You felt that too, though, Fast and Furious?
Yes, I was mostly the Furious part.
Yeah, so I mean, it really is. It's the end of an Act 1 play, and of a 2-act play at the end of the first act, and you're just like, oh my God, I've been in this act for 4 hours. How long is the second act? I feel like the next logical move.
Well, that would have been easier to have known. Jesus.
Would be Jay and Jimmy turning or Solo turning.
Just so you know, Cage Match, unbeknownst to me, had the ability to filter it down to just show me title matches. So it would have been a whole lot simpler if I would have done that. But less scrolling.
They have nobody else built right now. No one built right now.
Nope.
And they have to build it in 4 weeks.
Or not build it in 4 weeks at all, which is what I suspect is going to happen.
Well, there's people out there claiming it'll be a number one contenders match between Brock and Cody, and I'm like, well, then you just shit all over your storyline that Brock can't challenge for the title.
Mm-hmm.
So the only other thing you can do is if you can get through Brock, then you can have Cody have Roman again.
Or, I guess here's what you can do. It still shits on the stipulation.
Do you feel like Sammy's already the heat's already that gone?
I don't think the heat's gone. I just think they've 100%.
They've made it fizzle out. Like
they've said, here's the bone we're gonna give you. Tag titles. You know, I think the heat's still there. I think WWE has said that the most we're gonna get out of it is tag titles. 949 days or whatever the fuck it is. How many total defenses do you think he's had in that 20. 900 days?
20.
Close, 29.
So average every 30 days.
Yeah. However,
more than 30 days.
Keep in mind that 1, 2, 3 of them are triple threat matches, which still count, but it's important to note that they almost always do those in a ways to try to make the loser not feel like a loser. You know what I mean? So like, the Fiend got beat by Roman Reigns, but it wasn't because of the Fiend. It was, anyways, fuck. So, by the way, this episode of Raw that we're bitching about is now officially the 3rd worst rated event of all time on cagematch.com, and the only 2 that beat it. One is an episode of NXT from 2010 that didn't have a single match on it, and the other was the Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view from 99 that was an absolute shit show that got negative star ratings on almost every match. So
there's a chance Roman doesn't wrestle in the next 2 pay-per-views. Backlash is May 6th. Sounds like it's going to be Cody versus.
Mm-hmm. And it's what I was saying is here's the way they can do it. It doesn't it still shits on their storyline, but it doesn't as bad. It could be where Roman and Paul Heyman is the mastermind behind it, tells Brock, if you can beat Cody Rhodes, you will take his rematch. You know what I mean?
We'll give you his rematch.
Yeah, we'll give you his rematch.
Well, then,
but
so
you have to beat it.
You don't do that at King and Queen of the Ring, which is at Jeddah.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's at Money in the Bank. I suppose if he wins that, then Cody can get his Money in the Bank and cash in on those 2. That's fine by me, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not as big.
Yeah. That's the deal. I mean, in the end, I don't care what storyline they have planned. Triple H's whole thing in the post-show media scrum was, we've got a bigger storyline planned. You gotta wait. The story never ends, so we've got more planned.
You can have more planned. Fucking close the chapter.
Yeah. Here's the thing is, again, it doesn't matter whether you've got more planned. You now have a year until you have a stage as big as what you had before. And arguably not even as big, because it's in fucking Pittsburgh next year.
So, side note question. Rock didn't partake in WrestleMania because he's not in ring ready shape for a championship match. I don't think Rock versus Roman should be a ring championship match. I think it should be the first ever and only ever head of the table match to be the head of the family. Because Rock's the money bags of the family. Yeah. It really is.
Ultimately, it comes down to this. It doesn't need to have the titles.
No. Right? In fact, it's probably better if it doesn't. You know, he's kind of getting a little bossy with the cousins, and Rock comes back and says, "You keep talking about being the head of the table. Why were you borrowing money from me a couple years ago?" You know, and then
you keep talking about being the head of the table, but I had to beg Hollywood to put you in Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, one movie. You know, that works, and so that story builds itself. So then, what's your motivation? The 1,000 days? Is your motivation 1,000 days? Is your motivation Pedro Morales? Is your motivation more than Pedro Morales? Is it Bob Backlund, but not quite? Oh crap! The longest running is who? God dang it!
And you say that, and I'm like, starts with an Bruno Sammartino.
Bruno Sammartino, that's what it is. So is it beat Hogan? Is it beat you know, who is it? Who do you need it to be that he beats the record for? It might be Bruno. If it is, it's 2,800 days.
2,800 days. So from now, it would still be another
6 years.
Yeah.
It's another 1,800 days. Like, not quite 6 years, but more than 5 years. Is that what you're looking for? If so, you need to tell us so we can tune out for a while. Because I ain't going to believe it.
Yeah.
So, or is it you know, modern era? So then he has to beat. Shit! I mean, he's beat them all.
He's beat them all in modern era. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's tripled up on or doubled up on CM Punk. Doubled up on Brock. So the next step is Pedro Morales. Is it Pedro? Like, is that where you're okay with it? Is it Bruno, the shorter of Bruno's two? Is it Hogan? Are you trying to break Hogan's? And I would understand that if that's what you want to do. Hogan's not a clean champ anymore. But it doesn't really do anything for you.
Nope.
Like,
that's my point. I mean, the point is none of these records do anything for you.
No.
Because Bruno Sammartino set the record as the second championship. But also when it wasn't televised every week, right?
Correct.
Bruno Sammartino's 2,803 day reign
could have easily had house show matches that he lost.
Yeah.
And then won the next night. Or the same night.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just what are you targeting? If you're targeting the 1,000-day mark, I suppose that's cool. Yeah, that's neat. So SummerSlam, that's when we're gonna lose. Money in the Bank, okay, either of those are fine. What was wrong with WrestleMania though?
Yeah.
Why would you ruin your marquee show?
That's like ultimately that's really what it just comes down to. Again, it's not going to be for another year until they have something of this level, and I still stand by. Philadelphia is not as big of a stage as L.A. Hollywood is. You know?
Central Nebraska sportscaster. Now, he's no longer a sportscaster. He does something else now. But you remember him, Josh Sheldon, right? Okay. Josh Sheldon, local Nebraska sportscaster, posted on his socials, man, WrestleMania was crap. This is a mainstream guy. Like, in terms of local celebrities, he's there. I've never thought much of local celebrities, but I've never thought much of celebrities in general. But at the end of the day, he's there, and he was posting about it. So it's big enough that somebody whose career relies on their I don't know, credentials, their, how much people are willing to listen to him, was talking about WrestleMania not being good on a local level. It's also on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people just tell a better story, man. And if this is all about gambling, fuck you.
Yeah, that's the deal. But it made me think of something last night. If it was about gambling, if the reason Cody lost was about gambling, like I speculated, oh look, this shows that these aren't that predictable and all that stuff. What happens to gambling when you book a match, a big marquee match for the main event of a show that doesn't fucking happen? What happens to the gambling then?
Yeah, if you always know that there's going to be a swerve to what should happen.
No, I'm just talking about just literally doesn't happen like last night, right? Say gambling was allowed for it last night, and people go out and fucking put money down on Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes teaming up against Roman Reigns and Solo
Yeah.
Sikoa.
Yeah, if I'm a sports
And then
book,
the
I'm like, I ain't
match,
booking anything for you guys. You know why?
because the match didn't happen.
I have to refund the money on
Yeah.
a third of the time.
Yeah. The
Card
match
subject
didn't
to
happen.
change. That's
Yeah.
why.
Fucking, like, when was the last time you heard a sports bookie have to refund all of the bets on an NFL game because it didn't happen? Fucking almost never.
COVID? First week of
Why?
COVID?
Yeah. You know why? Is outside of COVID, they reschedule the games.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, we're talking worldwide events. COVID, 9/11. Those are the only
Yeah.
times I've seen sports events, real sports events, canceled.
But WWE is like, hey, let's have a bunch of people place bets on this match that doesn't end up happening.
Oh, fuck it. Let's throw in. Here's another match for the night, and that's going to be Bobby Lashley beating up Mustafa Ali. Really quick, make sure the sports book gets that.
Mm-hmm.
What? Like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So let's get over the whole sports thing.
Yeah.
The booking
Also,
thing.
importantly, if they're trying to get it so they can do betting on matches, then they're going to have to start announcing matches farther in advance.
Yeah, because ain't nobody betting 2 seconds beforehand.
Yeah, no, even 2 hours beforehand, right? Brock and Cody challenge Roman and Solo Sikoa at the beginning of the show for the end of the show, right? That doesn't give you a whole lot of time for the bets to pour in, right?
Most importantly, it doesn't give you very much time for the actuaries to calculate it out.
Mm-hmm. So it's
especially if you have to have an advance bet where it's win by Cody, win by Brock, win by Roman, win by Solo. Match doesn't happen. They can't calculate that out.
Win condition variables.
Yeah.
Win by count out, win by pinfall, win by whatever. It's a dumb idea from all standpoints, and you should fucking just drop it and roll on. Anyways.
All you can do with pro wrestling is spot bets. But I do feel like this is a perfect spot for a actual FBI.
Okay, let's do something with FBI. Fantasy booking rules are simple. We're going to challenge each other to book some unknown and often unlikely scenario in the world of professional wrestling. We don't discuss these in advance, mostly because we don't think of them in advance. I feel like you have one to start off with, so let's go with yours.
Hold on. Here we go. So, So we're going to go ahead, and we have already said a few times that night 1 was better than night 2 at WrestleMania, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So there's this little thing that we used to do that we're going to do again. And it's called the Russo Challenge. You can stab me through the computer if you'd like.
I'd rather just mute you.
Go ahead.
Nah, it's fine.
Okay. So anyway, the Vince Russo challenge. I'm sorry, Vance Russo. I get him confused with his cousin so very, very often. The Vance Russo challenge is to make night 1 as bad as night 2. I'll run down the card for you. Austin Theory versus John Cena. Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul. Damage Control versus Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. Dominic versus Ray. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. Sami Zayn versus the Usos. Sami Zayn and KO versus the Usos. Sorry.
Well, I mean, the first thing we're just going to start off with right off the bat on it is Sammy and KO are going to lose, right? And they're going to lose in the schmozziest way possible.
Well, then you can't say Roman Reigns comes out and helps the Usos because
nope, it's going to be even schmozzier than that.
That would have been a good move.
Yep, it's going to be even schmozzier. It's going to be a paid-off ref schmoz.
Okay.
Footage
Circa
earlier in the night.
Nick Patrick.
Yes, a Nick Patrick. We're gonna actually start that whole gimmick rolling here. That the Bloodline has
their own ref,
their own in their pocket ref.
Preferably somebody of Samoan descent.
Yes.
Or Polynesian descent of some
in their pocket. It doesn't even matter if it's Samoan though. Because frankly,
the bloodline though. That's where I was going with that.
Yeah, but he's not in the bloodline. He's just in the pockets of the bloodline.
Okay.
Because importantly, Paul Heyman doesn't have any.
What?
Polynesian in him.
Are you sure?
The only way he does is if Roman. Never mind. I'm gonna stop there before I get in trouble.
You ever got a little Polynesian in you?
Yeah. Would you like some? So no, this is purely a monetary thing. Paul Heyman video shows him talking to the ref earlier in the night. Ref in this multiple fast counts throughout the entire show and slow counts throughout the entire match, right?
Okay.
Every time Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn tries to pin someone, the count is 2 count. And every time the Usos try to pin it,
maddening. Visible frustration on the ref's face.
Visible frustration that he can't do it fast enough. Yes, we're gonna have the old fashioned 1, 2. Oh, my shoulder hurts. Oh, my shoulder. I can't count the third one with a visual 10 count on the pin. He rolls around there. openly ignoring interference. Solo Sikoa comes in, walks right into the ring in front of the ref, hits Sammy with the Samoan spike. Referee doesn't do anything. He walks out.
I don't hate this for some reason. That's how bad WWE's been.
So there's that. But otherwise, right? Pat McAfee versus The Miz just doesn't happen, right? Because frankly, I don't know if there's a way to make it worse.
I didn't put that on there, but okay, that works.
I'm just saying it doesn't. It just doesn't happen, you know. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. I'm gonna say double count out.
Ooh. No finish.
Yep, no finish, and
What's
they're
worse
only
than
gonna
a
give it.
Charlotte finish? No finish.
Yeah, and they're only gonna give it 7 minutes.
Okay.
Ray versus Dom.
I think they did the bad version, but it still was good.
Yeah,
Like Dom winning would have been fine.
yeah. I expected Dom to win. But Ray versus Dom. I feel like there has to be a gimmick added to it.
Ray gets arrested beforehand.
Billy Club on a pole match.
Okay.
But they call it the Prison Club on a pole match. Yeah. Becky, Lita, and Trish Stratus versus Damage Control.
There's a couple of these that it wouldn't matter who won. It's going to be a good match.
Yeah.
See,
Well,
it's gonna be
this
match
one
match.
here, I'm thinking we have a quadruple turn in this match.
Okay, so Becky's people become Io and
Trish turns on Becky. Dakota and Io turn on Bailey.
Crash TV, bro. They'll never see it coming. That's for sure.
And then right at the last minute, Becky turns on Lita, her own tag partner, to help Bailey get the victory after her own team turned on her. At the end, basically, you won't know who's on whose side anymore. It'll basically just be 6 women in the ring, and you'll be like, I don't technically know who I'm rooting for and who's whatever. Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. I think this is a finger poke of doom. Logan win.
Ooh. For a case of prime.
Crash TV, bro. Fatal 4-way tag team match. Give me 1 second here. Because I got to check to make sure. Okay, so the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus Viking Raiders. At the last minute become a 5-way with introduction of a fifth team introduced by Jimmy Hart. It's the Nasty Boys. Come out. And not only are they going to be the surprise fifth team in, they're going to win.
Because why not?
Because, yeah, Crash TV, bro. And Austin Theory versus John Cena. John Cena absolutely destroys Austin Theory in 1 minute and 32 seconds. They'll never see it coming, bro.
No, they sure won't. Sadly, there will be people who will cheer for that.
I think that's all of them.
That works. That was all I had, man. But I feel like sometimes life is a Russo challenge.
Yeah. I look at the WWE thing and I go, how do you fix this, right? As long as Vince McMahon has any say in creative, it's going to be broken. So how do we fix it?
How broken is it going to get? That's the real question.
So, and more specifically, how far does it have to get broken before Endeavor steps in and uses their controlling interest to oust?
Yeah. Thank God now we have Endeavor.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Endeavor now will have once the deal's done, which of course regulators still need to approve it. It's going to be a month or so, but once that happens, about the only thing I can think would be just a general walkout, right?
Boy, it sure sounds like that's a possibility too.
Yeah, just a fucking like. Let's see here. Let's say it's a month from now, so we're talking early May. Monday Night Raw on May 1st, Fort Worth, Texas. Which is the go-home Raw to Backlash. This gives a month for the Endeavor sale to fully go through. Everything. We, of course, have no card set for it yet, right? But so let's just say general walkout. WWE gets there, gets all set up, and realizes they don't have enough wrestlers to fill a show. And by don't have enough, I mean they have maybe a handful of the young talent that don't feel like they've got enough pull to get away with walking out, right?
And Vince guys.
And Vince guys.
Roman and Brock will be there.
Yeah, Roman and Brock. Well, if Brock's still in the storyline, and if Roman's not taking his time off, right? So that means people like Masay and Mansoor, who don't have like real draw power, probably will feel like they have to. Female wrestlers like
Dana Brooke.
Dana Brooke. Um, fucking yeah. I mean, that's about it. There. Tamina maybe. She's gonna have loyalty. Uh, handful of actual WWE talent, and then literally fucking any wrestler that lives in the Texas area that they can call, right?
For Tamina to squash real quick.
Well,
but they can't make it real quick.
Just to come in, because fuck, we need something.
Gotta have bodies.
If we've only got 10 wrestlers in the entire building, right? We need as many wrestlers as we can call right now to come in. And so Charlie Haas lives in Texas. They're calling Charlie Haas up.
After Vince fired him and Jackie right after their wedding, I don't think so.
ACH lives in Texas after, they burned him really hard.
I mean, Taker lives in Texas, so you can just have him come to a promo.
And he would, right? Show up last minute, fucking. I'm going through a list of
they
wrestlers.
Get a show out of that, but you're right. Endeavor says, "Okay, well, we're done with you."
Yeah.
What's the reason, kids, that you didn't show up?
Yeah. And that's my thing. It's like they might be able to throw together enough wrestlers to pull off a 3-hour Raw, but it's going to be a whole lot of who the fuck is, frankly. It's going to be a whole lot of indie wrestlers from the Texas area. They're going to be like, hey.
I mean, the bottom line is, I believe that Triple H's decision was the Cody not having the title right away. I do not believe that last night's events were from Cody.
From Triple H?
Triple H.
Yeah, it almost to me, frankly, felt like the start of the show where Triple H came out and tried to make it sound like he's still in charge and all that stuff. It really felt like that was him delivering a kind of a farewell. Like,
we're not going anywhere, but I probably won't be.
But I'm probably not going to be doing
and again, I don't want to put all of this on Vince. There are other people involved here. But at the end of the day, last night's booking was Vince. It had Vince written all over it. The rewrite.
Literally in the middle of Seth Rollins standing in the ring, ready to deliver something.
Yep.
And
so I don't wonder if it's that he's forgotten what he wrote. It could be Botox poisoning based on what we saw Saturday. That was the most pathetic attempt at looking young I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
The guy looked like a fucking half-baked fucking dementia patient when he came out in Lincoln when we were there. And boy, he had so much Botox in his face there were swells.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, the only way to fix it is for something absolutely desperate to happen to WWE, so much that Endeavor is forced to do something. Now, the other option would be absolute plummeting ratings, right? And by absolute plummeting, I mean lower than they've ever been. We've talked before about the million people who will basically watch
No
Raw
ifs, ands, or
every
buts.
week, no matter what. Right?
Yeah.
It's gonna have to drop well below that.
Yeah, I think you're talking 700,000 people.
Yeah.
600,000 people.
Yep. Down in that 500,000, losing the demos entirely. And the problem is,
You have to have something to go up against it if that's the case.
well,
And
there's a
I'm
little
not
bit
talking
of that.
wrestling. I mean, I'm talking.
It's better
Unfortunately, if XFL is on that night and it all transitions over to XFL, he just goes, "Well, it's football."
yeah.
It's
Here's the deal:
serious.
is it's better if it doesn't transfer over to anything. It's just people just don't turn on their TV. They transfer over to Netflix for the night, right? Uh, because here's the thing, and this is why I say the problem is, as much as we're bitching about last night's Raw,
It had great viewership.
2.26 million viewers and a 0.76 rating in the core demo, right? Second biggest Raw audience of the year, best Raw rating in more than 3 years in the demo.
Yeah, but I
And
mean, the
most of
bottom
this
line
was
is,
based off of
I don't
post
believe Trips
WrestleMania
the
hype.
next time. Yeah, I don't believe Trips the next time. That's the big thing.
Well, that's the other. Most of it was based off of post WrestleMania hype, right? But Vince McMahon is looking at it, going, "Yeah, we got him." Endeavor's looking at it like, "Yeah, we got him."
Man, you guys did a great job. And they stayed because they wanted to see Brock and Roman, which does lend some relevance to Brock. So I mean, there are people out there who will be upset that there's relevance to Brock, but there is not with the title. We like big, meaty men slapping man meat.
Yep.
Boy, that's gonna be a cut for my political career. Because I'm not getting elected to public office.
Yeah.
He just said he likes big meaty men slapping man meat, and that's it. That's the whole thing he said.
I'm telling you, man, come over to the other side. It'll get you points on our side.
I would be a horrible politician. I have way too many skeletons. Way. Well, never mind. That doesn't disqualify anybody.
Nah, yeah, that doesn't. I'd be a horrible politician because I don't have enough skeletons. They'd be all fucking suspicious. They'd be like, listen, we looked into this guy and we find records of him going all the way back to birth, but like he's never been arrested.
He's been drunk 3 times. That's it. And they were all bad experiences, so he stopped drinking.
Yeah. They were all in his own house. So he didn't even drive anywhere. It's like he's never even like had a bad conversation with the cop. Right? There's something suspicious about this is Witsec, isn't it? This has gotta be Witsec.
Anyway. I for the life of me, I don't understand an 80-year-old man wanting to still have that.
Yeah,
kind of
fucking
travel schedule.
retire. Go take your money, go to your fucking luxury condo in Florida, or get a fucking yacht, and bang co-eds for the rest of your life until your wiener stops working. Because that's the deal, right?
Were you referring to Trump or to Vince? Or is that just yes?
Yes. That is the answer, yes.
Oh, fuck.
JLB posted a question on his Facebook, and he was like, what's the difference between Harvey Weinstein and and Vince McMahon. And I said one of them looks like a pedo.
with that picture from this weekend.
And someone said which one? And I said yes. That is the question. Which one is it?
The right now the difference is $9 billion. Well, $4.5 billion.
The difference is one of them had repercussions for their actions, and the other one basically did nothing and then came back and made $9 billion.
$4.5 billion. He only had half the stock, or a little over half the stock. So we'll say $5 billion.
And gets to keep his fucking job.
Getting paid God knows what.
Anyways, but that's my point. Is like things have to go tragically wrong for WWE, and it is so wrong that half of that million person basic guaranteed minimum viewership deuces, and that's tough. I had a coworker who I was talking about this, and he said, "Do you know what? If I were
Endeavor
AEW right now. If I were AEW right now, and I know that they would argue that this is working against our own best interest, but if I was Tony Khan right now, I'd like immediately announce the formation of a wrestlers union. Start signing the wrestlers up on your side into a union. Instantly makes you the hottest target for free agents at that point. On top of it, WWE would have its hands tied if there's now a wrestling union, right? And that union starts to get recognized in all sorts of states. You have to, if
you have to negotiate with them.
You have to negotiate with them, right? If the union gets recognized in California and you want to hold your event in California, well, now suddenly you have to do union workers, which means all of your wrestlers now have the freedom to join the union and now have collective bargaining. It's not going to happen, but it would fucking shake them to the core.
Imagine being Endeavor and that happens.
Yeah.
Hold on, we're backing out.
Yep. Yep. Nope, we're not doing this. Go to your second choice.
Well, then it's Saudi. Yeah. And we had the exact same thing.
Yeah, no, I'd be just as angry with that. In fact, frankly, I'm actually not angry with Endeavor.
There's a very reasonable possibility, and I can't. Apparently, smacking your wife won't exclude you from Endeavor because Dana White. But there's a very reasonable possibility that there's some shenanigans that they don't like from Vince.
Get him ousted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But even more than that, like I said, I'm not as angry at Endeavor as I would have been. Like I would have been absolutely livid, and I said it before on air, and I'll repeat it again. If it sells to the Saudis, I stop watching. Right? I don't have that with Endeavor. Right? I'll keep watching, unless Endeavor starts to go, hey, you know how we do this with UFC pay-per-views, where you have to have ESPN Plus, and then on top of that, you have to pay extra for the UFC fight plan. On top of that, and then on top of that, the numbered UFC event, you have to pay an extra pay-per-view fee on them. If WWE started doing that, then I'd be fucking pissed. But otherwise, as long as they're just doing it, like this. But they need to rein in Vince McMahon. And we already have reports of top name talent who've contacted some of the dirt sheets and said, listen, once this actual thing has taken place, right? If Vince is still in charge, I'm going to request my release.
Well, GYV already did.
Yep.
Not that they're
Yeah. They
that
did it.
had little to do with Vince, I believe.
Yeah. They did it probably because they felt like they weren't being used properly in NXT, and they just wanted out. And reportedly, they already got their release. Like they got granted it.
Yeah.
Pretty much right off the bat.
Which means Sean wasn't planning on using them in any way, shape, or form anytime soon. I don't know. I sincerely do not know what to think of last night's show. I would agree with you, though. I think by WrestleMania Backlash, we'll know whether or not we have WWE Circa 2019 or WWE Circa 2022, end of 2022.
Anyways, well, I actually don't have a fun game to play tonight because I'm still just fucking pissed and angry. And
we didn't get the match that we were promised, and that just
no, it's like
exhausting
fucking
to have that happen over and over.
All I know is that AEW's has already announced most of their card for Dynamite tomorrow. And I've got to find it because fucking rolls away on me on Twitter.
Because fucking.
Wednesday, June 7th, they're going to be in Colorado Springs. That's
we'll just go, bud.
That's a little bit far for me on a Wednesday, but a little closer for you, but still not exactly.
Our best chance was Independence, Missouri a couple weeks ago.
Our best chance would be if they fucking did Omaha.
Or Lincoln.
Okay, here we go. Card for AEW Dynamite. I'm still so pissed about WrestleMania. It's still amazing. House of Black versus Orange Cassidy and Best Friends for the Trios Championship. The Guns versus FTR in a title versus careers match. This will be where we finally find out whether FTR re-signed with AEW or not.
Well, it ain't going to be WWE. The exact reason they want it out is back.
Yeah. The problem is, if they'd already signed for WWE, you know what I mean? Like a futures contract where our contract expires, we're signing this one already. Anyways, Juice Robinson versus Ricky Starks. Jamie Hayter versus Riho for the championship. The Acclaimed are going to give their answer to the Jericho Appreciation Society. I also anticipate a absolutely bonkers Max Caster rap. Hook versus Ethan Page for the FTW Championship. We hear from Blackpool Combat Club. It's apparently MJF Day. No, that matters, but I guess. Sammy Guevara versus Commander. Commander, of course, was the one who wrestled a couple weeks ago and was so impressive before Vikingo wrestled and was even more impressive. And then the biggest one, Tony Khan has a very special announcement. And of course, Tony Khan hypes up all of his announcements like they're special. But he has specifically said this might be the most important announcement ever on Dynamite. Which, again, might be just him hyping things up. Or
it could legitimately be the most
So who knows? Who knows on that? But I'm at least looking forward to not having all of those matches end poorly. Or even half of those matches end poorly. Right?
My kid last night was like, walk with Elias. Before he got destroyed by Omos.
Yeah.
My kid only recently started liking wrestling. I mean, he would watch it with me, but he actually likes it now. I gotta ruin it. Yeah, that's right. I said they ruined it by shitting on Elias.
Elias was fucking... He was so over. 2 years ago, they should have pushed him to the moon. Like, I'm not saying give him the world title, but fucking, he could have had a
heel run with the IC title.
Heel run with the IC or the US title.
The dude played back and forth for heel and face very well. Like, he could actually pull that off, too.
One piece of news is until yesterday, there had been a lot of reports that Switchblade Jay White might be going to WWE, but now the news is reporting that WWE has not been even talking about Jay White recently at all. So here's the exact quote from Tony Khan. I believe tomorrow will be one of our most important Wednesday night Dynamite shows we've ever done, with great wrestling and story, and one of our most important announcements ever in AEW tomorrow on TBS. So it's going to be really important.
Cody's still under contract with us.
Fucking
what? Can you imagine? Like,
well, that's what I was saying. Here's a pitch that I gave to one of my coworkers, and he kind of hated it, but also kind of loved it. Cody Rhodes somehow or another gets out of his contract with WWE. Whether it's waiting until the end because it's reportedly a 3-year deal, so he's got a year and a half plus left, year and 3 quarters left. That seems a long time. I think more likely he somehow or another either negotiates his release or gets let go because they've tired of him. But he shows back up on AEW with a new contract from Tony Khan, which right now, if you're Tony Khan, right, and you see the way fans loved him in WWE, you have a chance to re-sign him. You probably do, on one condition.
You'll be willing to go heel on occasion.
Be willing to go heel, but more specifically, we're not going to rule you out of world title, right?
Correct.
Because I'm not going to pay main event money for someone who I can't put in the main event. But that's where the next part of this comes. He signs a contract with AEW, and he's joined by his new heel manager. And his heel manager is someone old school, someone considered by many to be an all-time great, someone considered to be by many being one of the smartest guys ever in professional wrestling, and one of the best managers of all time, Jim Cornette.
Oh.
I hate Jim Cornette, but fucking imagine the nuclear heat, right? Absolutely nuclear. And Jim Cornette announces, right, that he negotiated this contract specifically. And this newly negotiated contract that I negotiated specifically says all agreements made under my client's previous contract are null and void.
MJF.
Yes. And now that he's back, he wants a shot at that title.
Maxwell, I need to speak with you.
And there, you instantly solve the problem. Because I've said this before on this podcast. If Seth if not Seth, I'm looking at a Seth Rollins video up here. If Cody Rhodes had turned heel 6 months before his contract was up and just said, now that I'm heel, I'm not gonna that agreement that I made before, nah, I'm not gonna obey it anymore. I'm going after that title. He would have been the top heel in the company, and he would have guaranteed gotten a new contract. Right?
Yeah.
It was his stubborn, absolutely ludicrous refusal to go heel and to break that promise. Like I said before, I know why he did the promise. It was all a PR thing to try to show people just because I'm an EVP doesn't mean I'm going to book myself in the fucking championship match and all that. So we've heard that before, fucking uh, uh, Kevin Nash booking himself to the champion because he was the head of the booking committee, or Hulk Hogan, who had creative control written into his contract, all this stuff. Right. So he wanted to show the crowd from the beginning, listen, man, I'm not going to be that guy who books myself in to win the championship and all that stuff. Well, now he's coming back. He's not going to be an EVP. He's just coming back as a wrestler, right? Can fucking do it. And if he'd have just done it while he was there, right, and just said, listen, man, it was a dumb thing that I did, and I'm backing out of it. He would have got nuclear heat. He would have been the biggest heel in the company, and Tony Khan would have loved it, because the biggest problem was Cody Rhodes wanted main event money, but he'd locked himself out of the main event.
Yeah.
And the only way to fix it would be to go back on that thing. So, anyways, let's go ahead and just end this one a little early tonight. It's always going to end a little early when we don't have JLB. I told him he needed to march into his boss's office at his job and say, listen, I know you pay me, but this shitty podcast takes precedence.
That's right.
Anyways.
And stuff.
And stuff. But on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book on the Fantasy Booking Institute. I'd like to thank anyone who joined, even if you're just lurking, not in the comments. Anyone who watched us, for joining us here. We do this every Sunday night and Tuesday nights at 10:30 Central Time. We also do watch-alongs to the major pay-per-views, and the occasional other stream for things. Sometimes I even stream myself playing video games poorly. So make sure to give us a follow, or if you have one, the Amazon Prime subscription is a great way to support us. You can also support us by heading down into our merch store, and you can get something like the autographed t-shirt, right? Comes blank, so you can get it all autographed up however you want. Or other shirts that we have. Links are in the doobly-doos for that. You can send us some bits. You can send us some tips through the links in the doobly-doos as well. But a great way to support us. Also support us by heading to our there. You can follow me at Raw and Order W, just like underneath my name right there. That's on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube's, TikToks. Only place it isn't is Facebook because they're weird. But you can still find us on there. You can follow DA Fabe at
DA Vincent K Fabe on Twitter. That's it.
Yes,
I am using my index finger, not my naughty finger.
Mm-hmm. Might as well use your naughty finger.
Rock does it.
There. Yep, that's where it is. Right there. We're going to go ahead and close the book. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you soon.